This will be episode 224 for you guys today. Once my co-host Rob Sarasulo joins in, we'll go ahead and get today's episode started. We'll try that again, Rob.
Going with Terrence Crawford.
Oh, there we go. All right, I got you in, Rob.
Hey, I had to update my Instagram. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I literally it kept saying invitation expired like 5 freaking times. So I was getting pissed.
This is all
Yeah,
good.
I'm here now.
All right, yeah, it'll just be. Oh, hold on. All right, yeah, it'll just be me and you tonight because Manny was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I know you got some things to say about your Giants. I got some. I got some things to say about my Cowboys, but yeah, we can go ahead and get started. All right. All right. Hey, guys. This is your host, Thomas Tyree here from OntheHop podcast. Today, this is going to be episode 224 for you guys, and I'm joined by my co-host, Rob Sarasulo, coming back to the podcast for us today. Rob Sarasulo is back. So we're going to kick things off with discussing how our teams played week one. As you guys know, I'm a Cowboys fan. Rob's a Giants fan. So, Rob, I'll let you go first. How do you think the Giants performed week one against the Commanders?
Terrible. Not good. And the worst part about it was obviously the O line, and I'm tired of saying the same things every year. The O line stinks every year, and they don't fix it. Three different regimes can't fix this damn O line. What the heck is going on? Like, I don't know. Like, the one good O lineman we have is never healthy, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas. Yeah,
Our interior O line has stunk for 10 years, and they no matter who they get, who they draft, who they sign, it's always the wrong answer. They cannot evaluate O line. I don't understand why. I do like the last couple of drafts that we had, in all other areas. It just they can't develop O line. They can't draft O line. Simple as that. Simple as that. They said Evan Neal was a starting caliber offensive guard. That guy stinks. Wasted a top 10 pick on him. John Michael Schmitz wasted a second round pick on him. John Runyon or whatever signed him from the Green Bay Packers a couple years ago. He stinks. I forget the other damn guy's name. He's a nobody. He sucks. But we did draft one guy, one offensive tackle who looks promising. I didn't see, a whole lot from him this game. He looked good in the preseason, but his name's Marcus Bowe. But anyways, that's besides the point. They couldn't block for nothing. Probably 2.5 yards a carry on, for the run game. That's just not going to cut it.
yeah,
Russ should never be your leading rusher at age 36 or however old he is. Just had no run game. And Russ, he did not look confident. It's I can see why, but at the same time, he can't see over his O line, which is a problem. I mean, he can't help his damn height, but come on, man. And he missed some easy throws, some layup throws. He missed a couple of them. There were some where his receivers weren't helping. Theo Johnson dropped a couple passes, and I feel like Neighbors should have had at least one or two more catches. But yeah, all in all, we had two trips to the red zone, couldn't score. Literally 4 plays within 1.5 yards of the end zone, couldn't score.
yeah,
Just pitiful. Our defense played decent. I mean, the pass rush didn't get home like I expected to, but that's because our defensive coordinator stinks. He doesn't do anything with schemes or anything like that. Just straight up one-on-one bull rush. He needs to get creative with this pass rush that we have. I mean, Brian Burns had a couple sacks. He played great. With the opportunities that Abdul Carter got, he played great. Our secondary could do a little better. They weren't too bad. But the run defense was non-existent.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to stop Jaden Daniels, but literally he was rolling right all game. I don't understand how you keep letting that happen. If he's rolling one way, make him roll the other damn way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the game felt like it was a lot worse than it was. On the scoreboard, we got bailed out a few times with penalties, but terrible. Scoring 6 points is never going to get it done. Throwing for 45% completion is never going to get it done. I can see Jackson Dart playing by week 5.
Yeah.
That simple. I mean, at least Jackson Dart would be able. I know people are saying, oh, he's going to get killed. I mean, you're not going to get nothing. You already know what Russ is. And I don't want to rush Jackson Dart, but at the same time, we need something to be excited about. And I feel like Jackson Dart would give this team some juice, just like he did in the preseason. So I give him an F. Terrible.
Yeah.
Not going to cut it. We might win 2 games, if that, if we continue here. We need to change some stuff fast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna pull up your guys' schedule, not to make you feel worse about it, but that was about what I was about to ask you about.
Opening few weeks are horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible.
let's take a. God dang. All right, so the Commanders are out the way. All right, so your next slate of games, Rob, you play the Cowboys on the road this weekend, then the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Saints, the Eagles, and the Broncos. Then the
And then
Eagles
the
again.
Eagles again, bro.
Yeah. So do you think they should just go ahead if Russell Wilson keeps playing like that, like he did in week 1, another 2 weeks? Do you think they should just go ahead and throw Jackson Dart out there?
I'd say if he continues playing this way, um, week 5 against the Saints at the latest. That would probably be a good game to put him in, just because it's not as daunting of a matchup. Um, you know, but then he has the Eagles right after that. So, I mean, I don't know, man. They could put Jameis in. I feel like Jameis would do better too, honestly.
Yeah.
I still don't know why they signed Russ. I mean, Jameis would have been fine. He would have
Yeah.
been fine, and it would have been fun. It would have been a lot more fun to watch Jameis play. Honestly, I would much rather have Jameis being the veteran starter than Russ. I mean, I like Russ, but at the same time, he's cooked, man. He's cooked. That guy, look, he stinks. He stinks. I have no faith in him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think Russell Wilson has the juice left, and I'm surprised you guys signed him based off of the year they had with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think, like you said, Week 5 is the perfect time to throw in Jackson Dart if things continue for Russell Wilson because you already know what you have playing the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Chargers. By that point, if things don't get better or they're not one possession losses, go ahead and just see what you got with your rookie in Jackson Dart. Because, like you said, he did bring juice and a little bit of fire to your team during the preseason. He played well, and you guys went undefeated in the preseason. I think that would be the perfect time. I'm not saying the Saints is a gimme game. No game. That's the easiest schedule or easiest game on your guys' schedule. But then
Yeah,
afterwards, you can see what you have them playing the reigning defending champs of the Philadelphia Eagles, which you're gonna have to play them twice a year this year anyway. So I think I agree with you there. I think that's actually the perfect time to see what Russ can do, and by that time I would throw in Jackson Dart. And I would, yeah, or if you don't go that route, you might have to, even after the Chiefs game, you might have to just throw Jameis Winston out there just to
yeah,
see what he could do also, and then just go ahead and turn to Jackson Dart too, because Jameis Winston, like you said, I think he'd be better to watch, and I think he could actually. I mean, he's not. I mean, that's actually debatable who's better at this particular moment, him or Russ. But in terms of being a leader, he's a much better leader than Russell Wilson. He can be getting killed by 45 points and still have his team still trying to score down the field. But
yeah,
yeah, it's one of these tricky situations where you're like, what's the point of having 3 quarterbacks and you got one that you drafted late in the first round that could have easily been a top 10 to 12 pick in this previous draft? But yeah, I think that is a direction you guys should go in. But also, something I would say too, Rob, from the glimpse of what I've seen from that game, it seems like too, Cam Scatterboot. I think you guys should give him more looks. Like when
I
he
was just
came in
about to
the
say
game,
that.
that
I was just
game,
about to
that
say
man
that.
was that man looked like he was just willing to get CTE early, just headbutting, blocking. Like he brought the aggressive energy to that game. I
Oh,
think,
he fired me up, man. He really did. I mean, blood was flowing when he came in the game and popped that man on that pass pro, and then he
yeah,
put 3 guys on the turf. The one time he caught the ball. So I know he only got like 2 carries and he literally had like -3 yards, but that wasn't his fault. I mean, he had no type of blocking. But yeah, no, I would like to see him get at least like 8 to 10 carries. I know it's going to be Tyrone Tracy's backfield for now, and I still do like Tyrone Tracy. Um, you know, I feel like if the blocking needs to improve, and no matter who you put back there, they're not going to succeed. Whether it's
yeah,
quarterback or the running back, whoever. is not going to do anything if you don't have any blocking. They also need to get more bootlegs and rollouts going if the blocking is going to be this bad. Just get Russ moving or whoever moving out of the pocket just to kind of avoid some of that interior leakage that they got.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I like Scottaboo a lot. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I think he has a bright future. And I think if you guys can improve your offensive line, you can have some speed there and the power there with a 1-2 punch. But yeah, it always starts with up front. But your guys' front seven, though, I will say that is a dangerous front seven if everything can click for you guys as a team.
Yeah.
Burns, Carter, Lawrence. I mean, that is just tremendous what you guys have as a front seven. That's exactly how you build one, too.
Thibodeau looks jacked too. Like he got bigger and he played better too. He played pretty well. You know, getting to the getting pressures and playing good in the run game. Dexy needs to do better. I didn't see much of him this game. I don't know what it was, but I really didn't see too much. I mean, he's getting double teamed every damn play. I mean, it's just gonna happen with him. But no, I really liked what Burns and Carter did. Carter getting that block punt and getting half a sack. He got like 3 pressures. Burns with 2 sacks. So yeah, no, that's going to definitely be the strength, and that was obvious coming in. But yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how you guys look against us this week. But
Mm-hmm.
talking about the Cowboys, I actually was surprised how the Cowboys played.
That was
As
I.
you know, they traded Micah 7 days before this game, so I automatically thought the worst once you trade your best player 7 days before kickoff. And you're playing the Eagles, a divisional rival, on banner night in Philly. But despite that, they came out playing well. And I think what happened after the kickoff with Jalen Carter coming up the deck, just basically doing a huck, spitting on him, that fired up the Cowboys because
That was crazy.
they played tremendous after that. I mean, they were running the ball. I was surprised they were running the ball. The offensive line looked good, run blocking and pass blocking. Dak played well. The secondary for the Eagles, I think they have a problem. I
Yeah.
think that Adoree Jackson is not good enough to be a number 2 corner. I think that's
Cooked.
something they should address very early. But for our defense, our secondary is playing well too against A.J. Brown. We had him in principal's office trouble. He had a win rate of 0.0. I've
Yeah.
never seen A.J. Brown have that in an NFL game. But I think if we just had less mistakes, we would have won that game. We did have some costly mistakes. The
Yeah.
Miles Sanders fumble in the third quarter, the crucial CeeDee Lamb drops in the final drive, the final possession of the game. You catch that ball deep down the field, all we need is a few more yards to punch it in for a touchdown. The pass rush had a hard time closing in on Jalen Hurts. We were really missing Micah Parsons' presence with a speed and athletic pass rusher that can catch up to Jalen Hurts, and he was running all over us. But a total, I would say, I would give it a B minus. I could see different energy out of Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, it is Brian Schottenheimer, so I ain't saying anything spectacular about him yet. But I'm seeing less yes man characteristics. Like I'm seeing this team play fired up. Like they were playing football for the entire duration of the game. They responded well after the rain delay too. And I don't know. I just see something different in the way he coaches and has his team rallying after him. It's still early, but in terms of having the team motivated and seeing CeeDee Lamb go back to the facility, not even 24 hours after that game, to work on his mechanics of catching the football, I'm seeing something different in Dallas. But I think if they could fix on the mistakes that they had, stopping the run is going to be very important. I need to see Kenny Clark being more present. I know it was the first week and he just got to the team, but we brought you here for a reason to stop the run somewhat. Um, I think the pass rushers need to step up as well because that's not going to be the last mobile quarterback we play all year. So I think we looked pretty good. I was expecting the worst. I even shared my slip to the chat. I had the Eagles with the 8.5 spread. I thought they were just going to blow us out, but I was actually impressed from what I saw from the Cowboys. So I want to see if they could keep it up and actually, the next time you play a championship caliber team, close in on your mistakes and win these type of games rather than lose a very close game that could have been yours on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean they definitely surprised me too. Javonte Williams is going to be a sneaky good pickup for you guys. I've always liked him as a running back. I just feel like he's just I don't know what happened to him in Denver. I know injuries kind of caught up to him, and he never really truly broke out like he was supposed to. Because I remember when he first got in the league, he was really good. I mean,
Yeah,
he looked explosive. He ran hard and physical. So that's going to be a good pickup for you guys. That's a sleeper on your offense. And I know CD's not going to do that every game. He's going to catch that 9 times out of 10. He's not going to have 4 drops probably ever again this season.
yeah,
Um, it happens. I mean, it's week one. That's when things like this happen. That's when mental mistakes happen the most because people are getting back up to game speed. But your pass rush is going to be a problem, clearly.
yeah,
You really don't have anyone good besides like Dante Fowler. And
yeah,
he's pretty. He had what 10 sacks last year, so he's pretty good.
yeah,
But he's not like elite or anything. And that's all you have. I mean, you have Kenny Clark now, but he's not really known for his pass rush, from what I know.
yeah.
Uh,
Just stopping the run, really.
yeah, I mean, he's a really good defensive tackle. He's young and he's good. And I know a Packers fan I was talking to, like one of my friends, he was really upset seeing Kenny Clark go. Um, and he hates how much they paid Micah, but that's how much you have to pay to get someone like that.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I thought you guys looked pretty good. The Eagles secondary is not great. Um, I know all too well how Dory Jackson is. He was on my team before. He sucks. He stinks. I don't know why they thought they could turn him into a reclamation project. Um, and yeah, I don't know what Mans was doing, spitting on Dak. I mean that was so crazy. The first thing we see of the first football game of the season for anyone is a right in his
I
face.
couldn't believe
Like,
that. I mean, obviously, you guys, the group chat has what I said in the voice recording, but yeah, I
I was
can't.
dying.
I just couldn't believe it. And the commentators all around the league, whether you're watching college or the NFL, they just ran with that and used it as a joke all weekend long because it's something like I've never seen before watching a game and just coming up the quarterback, just straight spitting on him for some miscommunication with Dak just spitting in open air, and then he just comes up to the line or up to the huddle and just spits on the quarterback. But I really think that really set the bar for how the Cowboys are going to play all night long because after that, they were fired up and they played some good football. But I'm looking forward to seeing how our division plays out, Rob. I think the NFC East is a wild card division. I really do think that's a not a wide open division, but I think there could be some things that could happen where somebody can climb up the ladder if drastic things happen.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Commanders play them. I feel like for them, adding Debo was a really, really good move for them. He
Yeah.
looked fantastic. He looked like he did when he was, cutting up on the 49ers. I knew he's always been good. I knew that, but he had an off year last year, some injuries and whatnot.
Hmm.
But no, I'm looking forward to it too. I mean, our division's always competitive. We always have a new division winner every year. So I know the Eagles won it last year. I could see the Commanders winning it this year. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it should be interesting. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment. So we sharing our favorite game from week one or our favorite moments from week one. So there was a lot of great moments, a lot of games that came down to the wire during the weekend, Sunday, Monday. So Rob, what was your favorite game or your favorite game moments from week one?
There's a lot, man. A lot of shit happened. I really liked the Steelers and Jets game. I thought that was a really fun game. Rodgers throwing for 4 touchdowns, turning back the clock. Justin Fields having a great game. You know, he looks really good throwing to Garrett Wilson. I mean, I knew he would be, which is why I drafted him in at least one of my leagues. But no, that was a really fun game, and honestly, no one expected the score to turn out like that.
Yeah,
But that was a really good game. Um, I liked the Chargers winning against the Chiefs. I liked Justin Herbert's stat line in his game against the Chiefs. He balled out against them.
yeah,
He
he
was
did.
cooking. It's that Madison beer aura that he's got. But no, and obviously, the Ravens Bills game. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot that can be said about that. From Derrick Henry dribbling heads like basketballs on the ground. DeAndre Hopkins one hand catch. The Bills come back, obviously. Um, you know that there is just a lot, and that's a few of mine. Trying to think. You know, Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'd say those are probably my top moments. And, you know, other than that, I didn't really watch any of the other games too closely. I did. Oh no, I did like watching the Packers defense dominate like they did against a really good Lions team. That was also fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was something I was actually about to say too that you said. I'll start with the Packers one that you said because that's a really good one too. Their front seven or their pass rush looked really good against the Lions. Like the
nice.
Lions, I know they had some things go on with their offensive line during the off season. I think their center retired and some other things happened with their offensive line. But
Hmm.
that was one of the best offensive lines in football last year. And the Packers, I mean, that pass rush was going. Like Jared Goff couldn't really do anything. The whole defense actually looked pretty good, pretty solid. And it just shows how one player, even though he didn't even play 50% of the snaps, can just dramatically change things for you. They already had some solid pieces. They were building towards having a great pass rush, but now with Micah, it seems like they could be on a tear in terms of pass rushing the quarterback, and especially against teams in the NFC North. You're talking about Jared Goff, J.J. McCarthy, and Caleb Williams. So I think that was a good sign for the Packers. But the other games, that Steelers and Jets game, if it wasn't for the Bills or Ravens, I agree with you. I think that would have been the best game of Week 1 because that was a fun revenge game for Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields going back and forth against their former teams. That was like a Freaky Friday little swap because they didn't even trade for each other, but they ended up on the other teams that they used to play for. But like you
Hmm.
said, that was a back and forth game. Jalen Ramsey and Garrett Wilson were really going back and forth with each other. Like that was some really good football. It's rare you see those type of wide receiver and quarterback matchups, like something that we used to see when we were growing up with Odell Beckham and Josh Norman. It's rare you see them type of battles anymore with so
Yeah.
much hostility. But yeah, I like you said, Aaron Rodgers turned back the clock. I think that was actually the best game, and you probably agree with this too. That was probably the best game Aaron Rodgers played since he was a Green Bay Packer like 2-3 years ago.
Yes.
That's how good
I'm.
Aaron Rodgers looked, and Justin Fields looked pretty good, like you said. The connection between him and Garrett Wilson going back to their college days, so it looks like they're going to be on track with each other in the NFL. But that game saving tackle that Jalen Ramsey had, where Garrett
Woo.
Wilson tried to catch the ball and cracked him, that's how you knew football was back. Was seeing something like that to end the game. Like there's no better way to see that. And like you said too, I was surprised that was a high scoring game because both of them have really good defenses, especially the Steelers. But both of them have really good defenses, and they were going back and forth with each other. And of course, that resulted in me losing, with the Steelers only having 1 point on defense this week. So, but that yeah, I know you definitely had to mention that Ravens Bills game because I think that was the best game of the weekend, and that's already in the conversation for game of the year. Lamar and Josh Allen, two quarterbacks, two of the latest MVPs dueling against each other. But I was just so surprised the Ravens found another way to blow another damn lead in the fourth quarter. I'm like, you're up 15 points with 3 minutes left. And I think not even just counting the last 3 minutes of the game, but I think the whole fourth quarter, the Ravens defense just they weren't aggressive in the fourth quarter. I think they got too conservative. I seen too many cover two looks. Cornerbacks were getting burnt like burnt toast, especially Jair Alexander. I don't know who number 5 is on the Bills, but he put it on him on that route to get them really down the field. But they had some costly penalties too in the second half, and of course, that Derrick Henry fumble, he's playing one of the best games that I've seen from him in a long time. He was just running wild, like you said, the stiff arms, bouncing people's heads off the turf like they were playing a basketball game on the basketball court, dribbling the ball. But yeah, I mean, like, I just can't believe they came back. That Josh Allen, the Bills just never quit. I mean, Josh Allen had 394 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. That just showed, that game showed me that I think the Ravens and the Bills are the 2 best teams in the AFC right now, despite the Ravens being 0-1. But I definitely want to see them match up against each other again in the playoffs. It's just like every time they play against each other, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and they'll be competing, and definitely a good handful more of meaningful games. I mean, they're going to see each other in the playoffs, I'm sure, at least, a couple more times in their career, given they stay with their teams. But yeah, no, that was a really fun game to watch, and I'm definitely glad that they picked that one to open the Sunday night schedule, you know. But yeah, definitely looking forward to week 2. We definitely got some more good games coming up here. So
Yeah, I think week 2 is going to be fun too. I'll mention something that happened last night too with the Vikings and the Bears before we move on. I actually fell asleep in the fourth quarter because I didn't think the Vikings would have come back. But I just want to give JJ McCarthy some praise because the way
yeah,
he brought this team back, being down by 11 in the fourth quarter, I mean he looked a little rattled in the first half, and I think that was expected for some around the league that follows the team or follows football because he sat out all of last year. He never got really any real game time reps other than preseason due to the knee injury. So he sat out his whole rookie season and then was asked to step up for Sam Darnold, who went 14-3 last year. So he looked a little rattled in the first half. But then in the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter, being down by 11, coming all the way back to win that game on the road in your first NFL start, being effective passing and running the football. I think he did have a rushing touchdown as well. I mean, he's not. He hasn't sold me yet, and I know me and you have said our things about JJ McCarthy coming out of Michigan, the way how they ran the football while he was there. But he's someone that could win me over. I mean, the Vikings do have a really good roster, and since he was a starting quarterback since high school, counting high school, college, and now the NFL, he's 64-3 in his last starts as a quarterback, dating all the way
hmm
back to high school. So I think Kevin O'Connell is the perfect coach for him. He's a low key quarterback whisperer. Um, I think the work you can think about the work that he did with Baker Mayfield, being the offensive coordinator for the Rams when Baker was there for the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season years ago, and then now he's a top 10 quarterback again. Then you look at how he transformed Sam Darnold and had a resurgence of his NFL career, and now JJ McCarthy's here. But I want to see how Dennis Squall. But I want to see how his NFL career plays out. I want to see how he plays in the NFC North this year. But I definitely was surprised that JJ McCarthy pulled that out last night in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really like. I didn't watch much of the game. Honestly, I was box score watching. um, I saw that it was a pretty slow game, so I didn't really turn it on. Um, but no, I was impressed. Like I watched some highlights, and I was impressed with how much fire that JJ played with. He was fired up. He had his team fired up. And I know for a while there he was getting slander on social media. People were like, they never should have drafted this guy after the pick six and blah blah blah, just talking shit. And what do you know? He came and he just told everybody to shut the hell up, basically.
Yeah.
With how he finished out. But yeah, it should be exciting to watch, and it's a good place for him to be. Like you said, with Kevin O'Connell, he's got, top 2 to 3 receiver in football in Jettas. Got a good run game. They got, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. He's got TJ Hawkinson. He's got weapons at his disposal. And, they have a really good defense, too. So he'll be fine there, I think. I think he'll do pretty well. I wasn't sold on him either coming out of college, but, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he was really young. Um, he was pretty raw, so he can get better with time, especially with the coach that he has.
Yeah, so I want to see how JJ McCarthy turns out for the Minnesota Vikings because they got a good slate of games and he'll be tested very early in this season, or not early in the season, but throughout the NFL season.
Hmm.
But we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment here. So we were sharing our early NFC playoff predictions. Rob, I think the NFC honestly is the varsity of football this year. I think
Yeah.
this. I honestly think this conference is wide open compared to how you. And don't get me wrong, in the AFC, there's really good teams too, but it's kind of seems like who's gonna be the top dogs in the AFC with the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs. But I want to know your thoughts. How do you think the NFC will play out, and which 7 teams do you think will make the playoffs this year?
Damn. I mean, like you said, it's wide open, so it's definitely a tough question. Like, I mean, I can see both the Packers and Lions making it. I think the Packers will. They might have a shot at winning the division with how they played, and if they can keep it up, if Jordan Love can stay healthy, I think that they have a shot at winning that division. I know the Lions. They've always got some damn people banged up, and their O line is not as good. So I think that Jared Goff's going to suffer a little bit as a result of that. But I still see them making the playoffs. Um, and like I mentioned before too, the Commanders have a shot at winning our division. With how well they played and the upgrades they've made. Their defensive line looks a lot better. I feel like that's a slept on part of their team. No one really talks about them as being a good defensive front, but they have good pieces, good weapons. I think that they are definitely a force to be reckoned with, and Jaden Daniels is honestly, I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC. I don't think there's anyone better, in my opinion. Um, I think he's already, this is Jalen Hurts, this is Jaden Daniels right here. You put Jalen Hurts has had a stacked roster since he entered the league. So we've never got to see him, go through adversity. I feel like he's always had a great team around him.
Yeah.
But, because of that, the Eagles will be in there. So that's 4 teams. I think the Bucks will be there. I really like what I saw from Abuka. He's really, really, really good. And I think Baker's going to continue to do well there with damn, their wide receiver core is crazy. But I think they'll be in there. So that's 5 teams. Uh, man. This is where it gets dicey. I mean, the last two. I mean, it could be anyone. I think it could be freaking anybody.
Yeah, it's
But
a really deep conference.
I think the Rams will be there. I mean, it's pretty much I think it's mostly the same. I feel like that last team could be a wild card type of team. Did I mention the Vikings as being in
No,
there?
you didn't say the Vikings.
Okay, well then, yeah, I think it's like the same 7 teams that made it last year. Then,
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys made it last year, right?
No, we went 7-10 last year. That's when we were
Oh,
done.
right, that's right. I'm tweaking out. Yeah, Dak got hurt. You're right. You're right. But yeah, no, I think it's the same 7. I don't think that there isn't really a team that jumps out to me in the NFC that would take any of them out. I mean, maybe the Falcons could fight the Bucks for that spot. Um, Michael Penix looks really good.
Yeah.
Um, mm, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that besides them, I mean, I'll have to see more football to really make that decision. But for now, I would say that I think it's all seven of the same teams except for I know the Bucks won, but I can see the Falcons winning that division over them. But I still think it's going to be the Bucks, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really a. Oh, hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a really tough division. I mean, really tough conference. I mean, there's so many teams when you look at it. It's tough. Um. Hmm. Okay, I got my seven. All right. First seed, I'll give it to the Eagles. I don't know how this is going to play out, but for now, I'll give it to the Eagles. I'll say they'll win the NFC East again. They got to work on their defensive flaws, like me and you talked about earlier. Adoree Jackson is not the answer as their number two corner, but if they can figure out the defense as the season goes on, the offense is still there. So I think they could win a lot of games and win this division again. Ooh, second seed, I'll say the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they
Hmm.
still have a lot of work to do, but that pass rush, if your defense gets a lot of three and outs, creates turnovers, or puts a lot of stress on the quarterback, and the offense can cash in on those opportunities, I think they'll be just fine. They can win this division. Third seed, I'll go with the Rams to win the NFC West. I don't think the 49ers, the Seahawks, or the Cardinals are good enough to take that division from the Rams right now. Fourth seed, I'll give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South. Like you said, I think it comes down to them and the Falcons jockeying all the way down to the final weeks for that division because both teams look pretty good week one, even with the Falcons losing that game. But the Bucks, they're just a really good overall team. Ime Abuka is going to be really good with Baker Mayfield. 5, 6, and 7 get dicey. I'll give the Commanders the fifth seed. I think they'll get back there again. The sixth seed as one of the final wild card spots, I'll give it to the Detroit Lions. And the seventh one, I think this one could honestly go either way with the 49ers. Well, not the 40. Well, the 49ers because they have one of
I
the
would
easiest
say,
schedules in
yeah.
football.
I forgot to mention them. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be in the mix. The Vikings and the Cowboys.
Mm.
Mm, I don't know. One of those teams are going to get out. If I had to say for now, I'll just put my team on there. But we would have to make a big trade before the trade deadline in order to keep up, especially on defense with a pass rusher. But it's going to be tight, whoever gets that final wild card spot in the NFC. I think it come down to the 49ers, the Vikings, the Cowboys, or the Falcons. That's going to be
Yeah.
really tight.
Yeah. I think so too. It could be, we could see some growing pains from J.J. McCarthy. I know he had that comeback, but, he could have his fair share of bad games. I feel like the Cowboys defense is really going to miss Micah.
Yeah.
The 49ers already have some injuries. Brock Purdy is questionable to play next week. George Kittle on IR. That's going to hurt them.
Already hurt my fantasy team.
Yeah. Oh, you drafted him?
Yes, that was my fourth pick
Oh,
in our draft.
damn.
Yeah, so I'm already hurting.
Hmm. But yeah, I like that top seven. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough unless there a surprise team that happens during the season. I'm not sure, but yeah, I division winners. I'm confident in those right now. I still think I think the Lions can still win that division, but shoot, what I seen from the Green Bay, and they just like steamrolled the Lions. I can only imagine what they're going to do for the rest of the season once everything really gets going. They haven't really shown what they even have in their bag offensively yet. Uh,
No.
I want to see what they could do, but I think the Lions still have a chance. But in terms of the other division winners, I think those would be my picks with the Rams, NFC West, the Bucks, NFC South. Well, that's the catch about the NFC East too, because we were talking about that earlier. There hasn't been a back-to-back winner since 2004, which is crazy. So maybe, like you said, the Commanders can win this division, or maybe Dallas if they can go on a stretch. But yeah, I really do believe that the NFC is the better division in football this year over the AFC, though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like the other way around for so long. I mean, I feel like we're finally starting to see some really great defenses come out of the NFC. I know that the AFC is more loaded with quarterback, but I
Yeah,
really do think that some people are starting to come out. And one of my I think one of the most slept on quarterbacks is Jordan Love. I think he
yeah,
is very good. He has a chance to be really good in the NFL. I wouldn't say he's elite yet. He has the traits to get there. He has the people to get there. He looked really sharp against a good Lions team. So I really liked what I saw from the NFC side of things, and we shall see what happens as we go forward here.
yeah. It should be a really good conference in the NFL. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out.
Hmm.
But we'll go ahead and move on to the final segment. We're going to be sharing our sharing our thoughts on our fantasy football team that we drafted for our league, and sharing fantasy football tips. So, Rob, what are your thoughts on your fantasy football team? You're a former champion in our league. You're looking to win a second chip. You're the first ever champion in On the Hop. So we'll see what you can do this year. But what's your thoughts on your fantasy team, and what fantasy tips do you have?
I really like my team. I can. I had the second pick in the draft. I don't think I ever had a pick that high in our league. So I think the highest I've ever picked in On the Hop was fourth. So it was really nice to be able to get Bijan Robinson. He had a killer game right off the bat. And my other running backs, I got Brees Hall in the fourth round. I know people were sleeping on him because of the year he had last year. Um, so I picked him up late. Um, he already looks like a steal. Um, drafted drafted like four. I have four rookies. I love drafting rookies, and this year is no different, especially because we have, a lot of talented rookies that came into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like I drafted R.J. Harvey. I know he didn't get many touches, but I think he'll be really good. Jaden Higgins from the Texans, um, and a couple others. I think Caleb Johnson, and I think running back. No, drafted Judkins. Once he gets over his court case, I think he'll be really good too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
I forgot about him. I did forget about him too.
yeah, so I also drafted for my receivers. I think my top two is Drake London and Marvin Harrison. I really like that top two. Um, and then I have a couple others like Romo Dunze, Josh Downs, and can't remember who else. I had one or two other receivers that are solid, and I have some depth pieces there. And I liked what I did at quarterback this year. In a lot of my other drafts, I actually drafted, a higher quarterback. Like, there's one team I have Jaden Daniels. There's one team I have Josh Allen. Um, but in this league, I got Bo Nix and Justin Fields. So I still really like my quarterback group that I have.
Yeah.
Bo Nix didn't really have a good game, but I'm 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 faithful in him. He had a great year last year. Had him on a couple other teams as a rookie. Very surprised by how he did. And Justin Fields, if he can keep it up, he'll be a really great fantasy quarterback. I mean, when he's running the football, he's very good in fantasy to have. And I feel like he always goes late no matter what.
That's
So,
true.
um, you know, and for fantasy tips, I mean, it's pretty much similar stuff, but it's a little different now than it was a couple years ago. I mean, I feel like there's definitely not as many workhorse running backs. So,
Yeah,
there's a lot of running back by committee going on in this present day of the NFL. So I really think it's important to have at least one really good three down back that can catch the football. Um, you know, besides like a Derrick Henry, that's the outlier there. He doesn't need to catch the damn football.
yeah,
But other than that, I mean, you really need somebody that can catch, three, four, five catches a game to, help you in a PPR league. I don't play standard anymore, so I don't really speak on that type of style. But
yeah,
it's definitely really important to get you a good third down running, not third down, good three down running back. But I think the most important is to have a top 10 receiver on your team. I think you really need to have a top 10 receiver, or at the very least, two top 20 receivers on your team. You need somebody that's getting 8, 9, 10 plus targets a game. Even if it's a slept on, piece, let's say Jacoby Myers, for example. I think he's a slept on example that is really good that you could have drafted pretty late.
yeah,
Pretty sure he had a solid game. But yeah, no, the receiver position is deep though. So like as long as you have one very good receiver, you should be able to get like, a few other good ones too. Like, there's some really good ones going late. Like, um, who can I think of? Like, Mike Evans always goes late. Um, you know, I think JSN is going to be a really good receiver. Garrett Wilson,
yeah,
Terry McLaurin. I know he didn't have a good game, but he'll be fine. And you know, the receiver position is deep, but it is important to have a top 10 receiver. Tight end, um, man, I mean, there's like there's always going to be like four tight ends that are like here, and then everyone else down here.
yes, yeah. I can
Um,
agree with that.
if you miss, like I have Brock Bowers. I was blessed with getting Brock Bowers at the back end of the second round somehow. I don't understand how I got him, but I did. Um, I thought he would go at the end of the first or at the beginning of the second at the very latest. So I was very shocked to get him. Um, I was either going to get him. I was going to get. My plan was to get Trey McBride because I thought Brock Bowers was going to get picked. But
Yeah,
that's what I got. Very blessed to have him. It makes everything so much easier. It helps you have a more complete team. But there's also some tight ends that you can grab really, really late that can end up being very good. Jonnu Smith is a good example from last year. Uh, don't think that's going to be the case with him this year, but you know, guys like guys like Tucker Kraft, guys like Evan Ingram, I think are going to have good years that you could have drafted late. Um, and always get you some dart throw rookies. Like I said, you got to have a couple rookies on your team, at least one, because yes, you don't know what you're getting, but because of that, a lot of them go very late, and some of them end up being very well worth it and very good. So take some of those late picks, use it on a rookie or two. Um, you know, and one thing too, everyone drafts. I mean, I do this too. Everyone drafts a backup tight end and a backup quarterback, especially with tight end. I mean, I feel like you don't really need a backup tight end. You really don't. Um, because I feel like, the only reason you're gonna use a backup tight end is if A, somebody gets hurt, or B, if he has a bye week. Um,
Yeah.
and that's just taking up a roster spot. I mean, I have a backup tight end. I think I think I got Tucker Kraft. Um, but that's because I just like Tucker Kraft. That's why I got him. If he wasn't there, I wouldn't have taken a backup tight end. But I feel like that's not really needed. You can fill out your roster with another high upside piece with that. And last but not least, this is something that I do every time, every draft, and I don't understand why people do this. Don't draft the defense early. I mean, people will draft, the Ravens defense or the Broncos defense or something, which I get it. I mean, I know they're very good. Sometimes they can win you a week. I mean, there might be a time where you need to drop them because of their matchup or because they have a bye week. You're gonna drop, um, a good bench piece like, a Josh Downs, for example, or like a Keon Coleman, or like somebody on your bench that's very good, but you just haven't gotten in the starting lineup yet. You're gonna drop them over a defense? No.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that strategy at all. I just stream defenses based on the matchup. I mean, that's been a good strategy for me, and it's worked most of the time. I just look for the worst quarterback or the worst running game, or combination of both, and I go with that. So yeah.
Yeah, those are some good tips because the way we've been playing together in fantasy leagues for a while, like things are definitely changing. Like one of the things that you said that stood out to me was the running backs. Like, there's not if you're not Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry, and you really can't even say Christian McCaffrey anymore because he's hardly available. It seems like nowadays. If you're not one of those two running backs, like you're by, or you could throw Josh Jacobs in there because he's a pretty good workhorse for Green Bay. But if you're not one of those three backs, like you're not a workhorse, and a lot of the time there's a lot of running back committees around the league, and teams are starting to get a second back just in case if the first running back gets injured. I think that's one of the real reasons why the Texans brought in Nick Chubb behind Joe Mixon in the first place, and it's playing out in their favor because Joe Mixon's. I think he's going to miss the next 3 to 4 weeks
He
with
might
an
miss the whole
injury.
year.
Yeah. Who, Joe Mixon?
Yeah.
He said to miss the whole year?
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance with the way he's trending. Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's rough. I actually snagged him just in case that he actually gets back out there and goes to normal stuff.
Yeah.
But but yeah, if you're not one of those backs, like you're not gonna be in a position to really be a workhorse nowadays in the NFL. So for PPR leagues, like you said, it's good to have like a good mix of running backs because one injury or 1 week where you could stand out from your other committee mate and you could be the starter getting these type of touches that could win you your fantasy league. So I think that's important. I also think it's important, like you said, to get a top 10 receiver or a top 10 pass catcher if you can, because they're going to get the ball 9 times out of 10. They're going to be very valuable for you. A lot of yards after catch. That's what really matters. With these pass catchers getting open in open space, those points just keep racking up the more yards they can get. So I think that's really impactful too. But yeah, things have definitely changed um, for the better, I think, because now it kind of makes you think, how should I draft my team every single year? And it's kind of hard too to have the same strategy that you had 1 year or you want to use for
Mhm.
the prior year to now, because the league is just changing all over the place. So I think that's what makes fantasy football fun every single year. Um, but my thoughts on my team, I think I have a pretty good team. I looked at the next day, the email said I got a draft grade of an A. I thought I drafted pretty well this year. I went with Justin Jefferson with the third overall pick because you took Bijan Robinson second overall. I actually thought you could take Jettis second, and I have him at third, so I went with Jettis instead. I had Kyron Williams at running back for the Rams. Tyreek Hill was a gamble for the third pick, but I thought he was either A, going to turn it up, or B, I thought at some point the Dolphins are just going to have to trade him. He goes to a team like the Steelers or even back to the Kansas City Chiefs, a team like that. So that's why I went to
Yeah.
go ahead and took him. But looking at my team just had a paid PTO week because I only scored 77.9 points week one.
Damn.
Like, Jalen Waddle was in, like, he was basically having a cardio game. Tyreek Hill couldn't get the ball from Tua. George Kittle got hurt in the first half. Like, I think Justin Jefferson and George Kittle were the only two players that scored a touchdown for me week one. Everybody else was like a non-factor. And the Steelers got torched by the Jets. I only got 1 point out of them. Like, and because Dak didn't throw a passing touchdown, he only had like 5 to 7 points. Like, my team just was bad week one. Not a good week for my team. But I think things will get better. And tips wise, let me see. Tips, I would say always draft a running back. I always draft running backs and stock up on them because, like you said, we're in a league where committees mean a lot now. And like I said, if you're not one of those backs, as Saquon, Henry, or even Josh Jacobs, you're in a committee. So I have a total of 6 running backs on my roster. Will I use them all? Probably not. But I just have them sitting there just in case if one takes over for the other. Or I could just put one on the bench like Kenneth Walker was someone I snagged, I think, around 5 or 6. That's somebody that looks like that could be on the downfall in terms of getting a lot of touches in Seattle. So I could bench
Yeah.
him and play someone like a Tony Pollard or a Warren for the Steelers. Go into how many running backs I selected. So 6 are sitting there for me. And I always think no matter what pick you have, you got to make the pick count. In the first round, people complain like, oh, I got the last pick. But that could be the best thing for you because if you have the last pick, then you have the first pick in the second draft. So always cash in on your first pick because that could dictate how your team goes. Don't be one of those guys that are late to the draft. You auto pick. That happened to me a few years ago. In our
Me
league,
too.
I had the 5th overall pick, and my app didn't load fast enough, so I had Travis Kelce. But I ended up winning that year a few years ago. But, yeah, always draft the best player available, how you want things to play out for you. If you think the best receiver is sitting there, like a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, depending on how the draft goes, or a CeeDee Lamb, no matter where you pick, draft the best player that can win you your league because your best player you're going to be depending on the most throughout the league. And I know me and you said this over the years too, Rob. Things have changed too. I still stand by this. Don't draft a quarterback early unless it's Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, or you could throw in Jaden Daniels now too. If it's not
Yeah.
one of those quarterbacks, go ahead and just wait for a quarter. Do not panic on a quarterback. I think it's absurd that some people draft Patrick Mahomes still early in the 3rd, 4th round. He's not worth it. Joe Burrow, 3rd, 4th round. He's not worth it. Like
Yeah.
I see this, huh?
I think Burrow is worth like a. I think he was good to draft in like the 4th roundish, 5th round.
Oh yeah, 4th, 5th round, but with a 3rd round pick, yeah,
No,
no, don't do
too
it.
early.
But that, yeah, Burrow, you could say that Burrow for his case, but Mahomes, no, Herbert, no. So it's just like if you don't have one of those guys, just wait. And I think tight ends are becoming more valuable too. I was actually thinking about that when you were talking about it, like McBride or Bowers. Now those guys are very valuable, like number 1 wide receivers for fantasy leagues because they get the ball so damn much now in these
Yeah.
offenses. So tight ends are becoming more valuable, and that's why I kind of panicked. But I'm lucky I did that because the way everybody was drafting tight ends, that's why I drafted Kittle 4th overall in the 4th round because I'm like, damn, everybody's grabbing a tight end. So I went ahead and got the best available player at that position with the 4th pick in Kittle. But I think tight ends, if you could grab one early, do it because, like you said, the top players are here, and then everybody else is like literally mid for fantasy as a tight end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you don't draft one in the first like 2 or 3 rounds, like the top 2 or 3, then you gotta wait until like the closer to the end of the draft. Um, I think all in all, the most important thing, a major key for anyone in general is the amount of opportunities that you need target hogs on your team. even if they're a number 2 receiver or number 3 receiver, make sure they're getting opportunity to get the ball. Make sure your running backs are getting the carries or the targets, in the passing game. Um, you know, it's all about opportunity and efficiency too. Let's say you have, you know, a Chase Brown or a Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are very efficient players with their opportunities. They get, some of the best yards per attempt out of anyone, or for like receptions and carries.
Yeah.
Um, but what was I gonna say? Shit, I was gonna say something. Oh man, I forgot. It slipped my mind. I forgot what I was gonna say.
I got another one too that I forgot to mention. Waiver wire, like me and you live on there. Waiver wires wins you freaking championships, man.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh, do they not win you championships? Because the waiver wire, it's a 99.9% chance the team that you draft, you never finish with all 15, 16 of those pieces on your team. You never do. So the waiver wire there's always somebody that's going to come out and be this great player, whether it's a running back, a receiver, tight end sometimes. I mean, quarterback here and there, but definitely if a player goes down or someone just comes up and just dominates. Like, I remember I got Williams for the Rams a few years ago, and he helped me win the league, and he was a rookie. And like it can happen so fast. The waiver wire is just there, sitting with talent all the time. You always got to be on top of it. You always got to pay attention to which players are starting to break out, which players can step up with the other player being injured, or check your bye weeks and get there early. Like, oh, you can see your quarterback has a bye week. Maybe this quarterback is starting to ascend up the rankings in fantasy. This could be a good
Yeah.
quarterback that I could snag for my bye week.
Yeah, I mean, with waivers, you can find your next Amon-Ra St. Brown, your next Puka Nakua, you know, your next uh, who else was really good? Bucky Irving.
Oh yeah,
Um, this is a crazy pull from like a long time ago, but I'll never forget how good Devontae Freeman was
oh yeah,
back
yeah.
like
That was
in high
way
school.
back.
In high school, I remember I picked him up on like 2 teams when he started to go off. Oh my God. That might have been one of the best waiver wire pickups I've ever had in my life. He was so good. But yeah, no, there's always a chance that you find a top 20 player at their position or even better, um, off of the waivers. And I feel like there's always at least one guy a season that is just like a shift that can really shift your team from the bottom to the top, off of the waivers. And who knows who it'll be this year, but I think there's a couple players that could be there. But we shall see.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna have a really fun year in fantasy this year. We just can't let a beginner like Neil win the league again. Also, beginner luck shit.
I'm coming for that second trophy, man. I'm 1-0. I'm off to a pretty good start, and I think my team's pretty stacked up, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, it should be a good year for fantasy. But we're gonna go ahead and close out the episode here. That's all the time we have for you guys today. This is your host Thomas Tyree and Rob Sarasulo signing out. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll see you guys on next week's episode.
See you guys. See you, Tom.
All right, Rob.